Hello again, everyone. Meteorologist Jim Dickey back with you. Another edition of Tropics Talk here on this Wednesday, July 23rd. We start by taking a look at the wide view across the Atlantic to bring home the point that still, by and large, it's very quiet out there across the basin. Earlier on this week, we were watching this little cluster of thunderstorms. It was dubbed earlier Invest 94L. There's not much going with it now, just some highly disorganized thunderstorm activity that's drifting westward, locally enhancing rain across the Caribbean over the next couple of days, but no tropical development expected out of that. Now, the feature that's sort of jumping off your screen here, broad swirling going on off to the south and east of Florida. You see sort of this line here. That is a front stretched from north of Bermuda across northern Florida and Georgia, connecting up into this heavier thunderstorm activity into the Gulf. That is what we'll be watching for tropical development as we go into the later part of the week. Broad low pressure drifts over Florida today, tomorrow, sets up in the north-northwest Gulf and moves westward, at which point, once it gets to about Louisiana, Texas, low chance a tropical depression or storm is able to swirl up here. If you're having sort of a feeling of deja vu, that's because this time last week we were talking about a near identical situation. A little further west with this, but we were watching low pressure moving across Florida, drifting across the northern Gulf, and there was a low to medium chance for development with that one. And actually, believe it or not, there's some sort of reflection of that same system we were tracking last week in this one, because some of the moisture from that was dubbed Invest 93L last week, looped northward through the lower Mississippi Valley, was then brought back southward to meet this front. Now, some of that moisture, that remnant moisture, is adding into the rain we're seeing here today in Florida and will be fueling this potential system as we go into the late part of the week. Again, that development chance is fairly low. The model's not very bullish with that chance. Let's go through some of the model data here. This is the latest run of the European forecast model, showing you that front stalled out over northern Florida today, tomorrow, a sort of focused low pressure area drifting west along that today, tomorrow, lots of rain for Florida. We get into the early morning hours tomorrow. This is still an open low pressure area. You see the wind shifting, but not closed off. That's what we're watching for on this model here. If it's going to try to develop something, it'll want to not only close off that low from the front, but also have that closed low level circulation. We get into Thursday evening. Now you're seeing a little more of that circulation going on. You're also seeing plenty of rain over Louisiana, and that's going to be the main impact from this, whether it comes together or not. It is going to be a big rainmaker. Again, first today and tomorrow for us in Florida, and then spreading through the northern Gulf Coast towards Texas, going into Friday and the weekend. And there's by Friday afternoon. Now we do have some reflection of a closed low off to the south of Louisiana, some heavier rain mainly over the Gulf, and then that drifts on shore in Texas as we go into Friday. Yeah, close low. So perhaps Friday evening, as this moves on shore, this could be a tropical depression, something weak, something disorganized that brings a lot of rain out there. This is that same European forecast model, but the ensemble of it. So I was showing you the operational run of it. You take that, you tweak it a number of different ways, you run them all out concurrently. That's an ensemble forecast, and this is looking at how many of those different members of that ensemble, there are 51, suggest there's a low in the Gulf that's producing 30, 35 mile per hour winds, so conceivably a tropical depression. There is a decent number of them, about 40% of those ensemble members showing a tropical depression trying to come together here Friday into Saturday. But note, as I look at the same product and switch over to a tropical storm, so anything producing winds 40 plus miles per hour, yeah, those development chances drop off quite a bit. We're now seeing just a handful of members, one or two really, showing something that would have tropical storm force winds. So could something develop? Sure, it's not out of the question. Would it be anything significant? No, I don't think so. The wind wouldn't be much of a problem, and this is going to be a rainmaker. That's going to be the main issue for this, and actually is the model's not terribly impressed right now with the overall rain totals here. This is actually from the Weather Service, the 5-day rain totals. Shown along the coast, a broad 1 to 2 inches piling up in many spots, and that extends into the Houston, Galveston areas for a half an inch to an inch of rainfall. At this point, nothing they can't handle. Now, if something does become a little more organized, something a little more slow moving, we'll up these rain totals here. So that's what we'll be watching for, some at least locally heavy rain from this weak tropical system going forward. Back here in Florida, rain totals not all that impressive over the next 3 days, a half an inch to an inch. I think much of that would fall today and tomorrow. And as to why those numbers down a little bit from a typical 3-day stretch during rainy season, it's because of this. Saharan dust going to spread its way in here as we go through the next couple of days. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual model here so we can see that dust spreading in. Here you go. There's plenty of it out there. Right now, stretched from the Caribbean back to Africa. Big part of the reason why 94L didn't come together in the East Atlantic, because it got sort of swallowed up by that Saharan dust. We advance this forward. We get into Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, that dust on our doorstep, and then overspreads Florida going into Friday and the weekend. So yeah, you take a look at the wide view, going to help to keep things pretty quiet across the tropical Atlantic, but also has an impact here locally too. As we go back to those impacts, what you can expect, sort of hazy, milky skies for a couple of days and a little more color at sunrise and sunset. We saw it a couple of times earlier on this summer. This is just, again, sort of a typical thing we see through the first couple months of hurricane season. Along with that, air quality drops slightly. Have to remember, most of those dust particles way up there in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. But just as Saharan dust helps to suppress tropical activity, it will also help to suppress our rain chances. A few storms that will form will be on the stronger side. Friday we'll be watching for that, but overall the rain chance is fairly low. In fact, I think 30, 20, 30 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday might be a little overdone at this point, especially for Saturday. The models came in basically bone dry on Saturday. Of course, as you know, as we dry things out, that does mean it's going to be a little bit hotter with highs this weekend going back into the 90s. So that's what we're tracking for you. Watching this disturbance moving into the Gulf later on this week, and then watching that Saharan dust spreading over Florida, keeping the tropics quiet, and also dropping our rain chances here locally. That's it for Tropics Talk here for today. Until next time, meteorologist Jim Dickey, have a good one.